Here with Jordan Tabakman, collegiate baseball news, pitching coach of the year. Rawlings presented that to you at the convention, but pitched at UConn, have had stops at a couple places, Amherst, UConn, Albany, and now going into your third season at Fairfield, correct?
Yes, correct. Yep.
Hey, what did you learn from John Wilson and Jim Penders?
John Wilson, yeah. No, growing up, playing with his team and the Twins, that was an unbelievable experience. What he provided for us, in New Jersey with that travel team. I mean, he exposed us to some of the top talent in the country, and I think that prepared all of us as we headed into college ball, regardless of what level it was. And he was, just little conversations here and there with John, just kind of preparing us for the next level. And for some that played professional baseball, I think it went a real long way for us. And
what did he tell you guys to try to get you ready for the next level?
Well, I mean, I think it was more of just the situations he put us in. I mean, the tournaments that, some of us were a lot younger playing up, obviously, and, just to play against, some big time Division I commits, to compete against those guys gave us a lot of confidence as we competed in that college, search. And,
it seemed like he had all the right guys in that area too.
Yeah, we had, from Steve Proscia, to some other guys as well. I mean, just some of the guys I was able to look up to, they offered me a lot of advice, through the whole circuit of the summer. And, it went a long way. And as we got into college, I think we were just prepared to, go up against the best of the best. And, that confidence, that comfort level was always there just from, the exposure we had in high school.
Yeah. What about Coach Penders?
Yeah, Coach Penders is, the best of the best. What he did for me, what he still does for me today, I wouldn't be here without him. UConn's been a huge part of my life. And, just from the standards he held at UConn with us to, now after college, he still keeps in touch, showing up at weddings. He's from just the little details to the big ones. He has obviously a really good thing going with UConn. They're at another level right now from when I was there, and it's pretty incredible to watch. It's fun to go back to see their new facility now and what those guys have. What he's done there is truly remarkable. He's a big inspiration for me as a coach, and I'm always texting him every now and then. Like last year, we went to the regional. I sent him a text. You got any advice? And it was so good. I had to copy and paste it and send it to our team, which fired us up. And he's always there for us, always looking out for us. If we call him, hey coach, can you do this for us? And he's doing it right away. He's awesome.
He's very genuine.
Yes.
Yeah, he's one of the most genuine guys we have at that level. He's awesome. It's always been good to connect with him. He used to come to the Midwest a lot and recruit, so that's why he and I have developed a relationship, just because he was in the Midwest quite a bit, and he would sneak some guys out of the Midwest every once in a while on the recruiting trail. Hey, what's it mean to win the Collegiate Baseball News Pitching Coach of the Year award?
Yeah, it's a incredible honor. I looked at when Pat Pinkman called me and kind of gave me the background info on what the award was and the previous winners. I was in shock. There's so many coaches out there that were so deserving of the award. So, it was a huge honor for me. And to see the list of names that were previously, the guys that won, those were guys that were recruiting me, coaches that I look up to, that are some of my, some of mentors. Coach Kuhn, I saw him on the road. Yeah. He was a big part of my recruitment process when he was at UVA. Coach Forbes, a lot of other guys as well that I look up to. So, to see, to get that award was unbelievable. Unbelievable. So,
what'd you think of the pitching hot stove?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, that was my first time there. Pat does a great job setting that up. We had a lot of great conversation afterwards, and you meet a lot of people, a lot of great high school coaches, a lot of great college coaches, and you build relationships. And I still keep in touch with some of the guys that I met, for the first time that night.
Yeah, I like the format that you guys did, because it was presentation and then break off into separate areas. And So hard to know what to do with the hot stove sometimes, and you give everybody autonomy to run it how they want. And I thought you guys did it right, because I think you get the presentation piece, but then you also give people enough time to break off, and that's really how the hot stove started, was just smaller groups talking to each other.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, I learned a lot from sitting up there, just listening to the other coaches present, and then, some of the questions were great, and just hearing other coaches answer those. I mean, I definitely, walked away with a lot more information than I had previously.
Hey, at what point last year did you guys think you're going to be special? I mean, you're 28-4 with your starters. I looked, you had 9 shutouts and 8 complete games out of your starters. So at what point last year did you know it was going to be pretty special?
Yeah, I mean, going through the whole season, with the win streak and just going into every weekend, I mean, we're going in playing 4 games a weekend. It's conference only. So, we're just going in, hey, we got, let's win the first game. Yeah. Let's take care of the series and go from there. And, we just kept winning. And I don't think, I think our guys did such a great job staying level-headed through the whole thing. Our goal was to win the conference championship, and unfortunately we didn't, but because of the season we had.
Yeah, but you played 6 games in the conference tournament. I mean, you gave it everything you got, and I was going to ask you, did losing the 1 game during the regular season help you guys, or was it just like, okay, let's move on to the next one?
I think a little bit of both. I think it definitely took a big weight off some of the guys' shoulders. Obviously the support and the coverage we were getting. We were starting to feel it a little bit towards the end of the season, but at the same time, I don't think it really affected us too much. We bounced back immediately. I think we ended up winning the next game with a shutout. Our offense stepped it up, and it was like, the loss never happened. And, we just kept looking forward. And that was, the mentality of the whole season was just the next game, not what we've done up to that point. It's just the next game. And our guys, we had such a talented group. It was a great, looking back after the season, it really, kind of sunk in and hit us like, wow, what we just did was pretty special. It's going to stay with us for the rest of our lives. And, it was a special year for sure.
Hey, not winning the conference tournament, were you guys worried that you weren't going to get an at-large bid? I know your RPI was through the roof, but the selection committee doesn't always do the right thing when it comes to mid-majors.
It was leading up to the selection show. I mean, I can't speak for anyone else. I mean, I was sick to my stomach.
For sure.
I didn't think we were going to get in. I mean,
for sure. There's been teams every year that deserve to get in, that don't get in. But obviously what you guys did in the regionals proved that you guys belonged. I mean, you had a great run in the regionals too, got beaten by Texas in the finals, but you guys played really good in the regionals. And I don't know, anybody listening that doesn't know much about college baseball, 4-game series, it's almost impossible to win all 4 of those games. And you guys kept doing it. Like, that was the thing that I was impressed with the most out of you guys, is you just kept winning 4-game series. And I had played and coached in a lot of 4-game series leagues. That's so hard to do, is beat a team 4 straight times.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we had obviously a lot of things go our way. Some of the games we won, it was a lot of luck, a lot of bounces that went our way. But, you look back at it, pitching, hitting, defense. I mean, we were very good in all 3 areas, and we were as consistent as it gets every game. The conference was competitive. I mean, there were some really competitive teams. There were great games. It wasn't, obviously it wasn't easy. No game is ever easy, but going into a weekend playing, a doubleheader on a Saturday, a doubleheader on a Sunday, I mean, it's tough, but I think our mentality was just that game that was in front of us, and our guys, they stayed consistent with it. I think we prepared, better than anybody, in my opinion, and we were ready for it. We had the depth pitching wise. We had, 4 starters that were as consistent as it gets in a 7-inning game and a 9-inning game. And our offense was it was deep. Our defense was spectacular. And I think just the overall consistency of our preparation just, led us to, get the results we got.
3 of your guys pitched in the Cape last summer. I mean, how different are those guys? In a 4-game series, you're going to probably try to match up with some different looks, but how similar are those guys from each other?
They're very similar and also very different. I think they prepare at an elite level. I mean, Mike Sansone, you had Trey McLaughlin, who actually went down early. but stuck with it, kept his head up, was a great teammate, and showed up big for us, in the end. And then Jake Noviello, I mean, I can go down the whole list, but I mean, they just made each other better, and they made our entire team better by the way they prepared every day. They're great role models for the younger guys. And I think when they were on the mound, we just had all the confidence in the world. I mean, if we went down early, we knew, we were able to limit. Our offense was going to step up, get some timely hits. Our defense made some great plays behind us. And, it was just, they just made everyone on the team better. And I think that's why we were able to be so good last year.
Are you calling pitches?
I did every now and then, but Mike Caruso really, he ran the show. I mean, he's a veteran. He knows our pitchers so well. So, I was extremely comfortable. Every time Mike was behind the plate, he was calling the game.
Yep.
And he did a great job. We had synergy. So Mike and I would sit down, review the lineups before every weekend, and his ability to retain information and put that into effect in a game was, phenomenal. I couldn't have been any more, I was so confident with him behind the plate along with the rest of our coaching staff and pitchers. So
how much are you relaying to your pitchers then? I know you're going to do some heavy lifting with him, but then how much information are you relaying to your pitchers?
Yeah, it really depends on the guy. Our starters, they're able to take that information and use it. Some other guys don't like to know. Yeah. They just like to get on the mound, compete, whatever's put down, they like to attack with. But what I like to do is really get to know my pitchers as best as possible to see, what information they can handle. Some guys like the information, some guys don't want to know. So it really depended on, each specific guy.
I liked going back to the video and just showing how we got guys out, our guys. I know Synergy's good because you can see a bunch of different games, but we tried to take snippets of how we had attacked guys. In the Summit League, you played everybody 6 times. So you had a long history with guys and a lot of video libraries. So that's what we would go back to. And we wanted them to see themselves have success against the other lineup that we were facing. I thought it helped their confidence. I mean, everybody does it a little bit different. And I think it's unique to each program how they're going to relay the information to the guys. And that's the art piece with pitching and catching is how much information you're going to relay and what works for the individual.
Yeah, no, video is obviously a great tool. It's a great, it's great feedback. And similar to what you were saying, there's a lot of guys where, I'll clip out, the bad pitches, the hits, and just show them, getting swing and misses, executing pitches. And it's good. We do a lot of, visualization work. And I think to see that, that video over and over again of just success helps them, in their mindset going into games. It gets their confidence level up. And I think that's definitely a big piece.
How are you walking them through the visualization?
Yeah, there's a lot of different techniques. A lot of guys like to do different things, whether it's, standing on the mound with their eyes closed, just visualizing, pitching on our mound. I'll send them a picture of a mound that they're about to pitch on at an away site. It's watching maybe a major league pitcher, or themselves, getting success over and over again, executing pitches over and over again. It's really different with a lot of guys. I don't like to just do one set system.
Exactly.
But, they're really bought into it. They love it. They do it on their own. We do a lot of, mobility, recovery, yoga stuff. And our guys are just, they completely run with it by themselves now. Yeah. So they make my job easy. But, they're really bought into it. And I think it goes a long way.
We took some from the military, too, from a worst-case scenario at times because when they do their after-action review or they're preparing, like they'll put themselves in their worst-case scenario. So we would have them visualize sometimes like, hey, bases loaded here. You just walk the bases loaded and see themselves get out of it, too, just because it's not going to be rosy all the time for guys when they're out there. They're going to get punched in the mouth. So we wanted them to kind of see themselves work through some adversity, too, with the visualization piece also.
Yeah, definitely. I think for the most part, we are, we'll have like a topic of the day or a moment of a situation of the day where, like you said, maybe it's man on second base, we're up 1-2 strike count, visualize, executing an inside fastball or, throwing a curveball out of the zone for a swing and miss. And I think, our guys like to go with it in their own way, but it definitely is visualizing yourself in a lot of adverse situations. So when you're in that moment, it's like you've done it before. And I think that confidence goes up with it.
Are you having them do much shadow work in the bullpen?
Yeah. I mean, I
for
like
dry
to give it,
reps?
yeah, a lot of dry reps where, we have a lot of extra mounds. So there's a lot of extra space for our guys when they're not getting off the mound that day. Everyone likes to get off the mounds, daily, whether they are thrown or not. So, some guys like to do it more than the others, but, you see Max Scherzer doing it. So, hey, look, if the best of the best is doing it, we're going to do it too. So, our guys, they're hopping on, sometimes they put headphones in to eliminate, the outside noise, or they're standing on by themselves. But yeah, they do a lot of that. And I think, again, it's a good piece of visualization that goes a long way.
Hey, your guys that pitched this summer, what'd you do with them this fall?
This fall, so depends on, like Mike Sansone, when you accumulate what he did in the spring and the summer, he got off the mounds, a couple days a week at a very low effort. Some guys that came back with a minor, injury, we kind of, held them down a little bit. And most of the guys we had thrown live for the entirety of the fall. We had a lot of guys that did not get a lot of innings last year in the spring because of, the conference only and our starters going so deep into the game. So they got their summer innings in, and they were fresh for the fall. So I would say a majority of them, about 95% of them, logged about 10 to 15 innings in the fall.
How are you attacking the fall inter squads for those guys that are full go? Are you one inning at a time? Are you letting them go? Are you lengthening them out? How are you handling the inter squad piece in the fall?
Yeah, so each week we kind of build them up, and we'll get the guys that typically do extend to 4 innings, 5 innings at times, rarely 5 innings, but we're going once or twice a week with them from 1 innings to 2, depending on what their role is, what we anticipate their role being. But yeah, we'll go up to about 4 innings with the guys that we typically extend.
And then when they're done with the fall, then what are you having them shut down? Are you going to have active recovery? What are you doing with guys when they're done with the fall?
Yeah, most of them head into an active recovery phase. They'll put the ball down for, I think for a few days. I think the way the game's trending now, it's less time of putting the ball down. Guys are starting to throw. They just play catch about 3 days a week, keep up with their, their arm care routines, and then they all get their, throwing schedule. Kind of, I think when about December hits, that leads them up to to be ready to throw live when they return from winter break.
How are you handling your new pitchers when they get there, when they get on campus?
Yeah, for the freshmen, so I like to obviously get to know them very well. We sit down, we have a lot of one-on-one conversation on what's really made you successful up to this point. How can we continue to maximize those strengths? And it's a lot of education, really. It's educating them on the game of the college game, and what the speed of the game is like, how to prepare with runners on base. I think that's one of the biggest struggles for the incoming guys is pitching with runners on base, and it can really speed up on you. So that's really the first thing we attack, is getting comfortable with runners on base. Getting your looks down, executing a pitch at the same time. But overall, it's really educating them on how to attack. It's again, it's the same game but a little different because you're at a higher level now. So it's a lot of one-on-one conversation, a lot of one-on-one work, and it's fun. It's fun. It's always good to have new faces and see what they can do.
Yeah, because the better ones in high school aren't going to deal with a lot of traffic on the bases. They're just not, because they're going to get guys out consistently. Hey, are you relaying any information to your recruits, your incoming guys, before they get on campus?
Yeah, I try to as much as I can and get them as prepared as possible. So when they show up, it's not really starting at square one. So, we'll have conversations, maybe once or twice a month, just kind of checking in, seeing how they're doing, what's going well for them, what are they struggling with. And I just try to mentor them as best I can, not stepping on any toes with their high school coaches or travel coaches, but the more conversation I can have with them before they step on campus, the more ready they are going to be for the time they step in the fall for live scrimmages.
The amount of throwing, I think, is the difference going from high school to college. The practices are longer. The volume picks up. How are you handling those conversations with freshmen? Because their velo is probably going to dip. They're getting in the weight room probably maybe for the first time, and also practicing at the same time, so it's going to dip a little bit. How are you handling those conversations with your new guys?
Yeah, it goes back to the education piece on how to monitor their workload each week. Some days it's heavier than the next week, so again, it's really, I have them, it's time to really start to pay attention to your body. How do you feel the next day after a heavy day? How do you feel the next day after a light day, and so forth? So, you do see a lot of guys coming in with tired arms. It's a big adjustment for them to be practicing every day, to be throwing live each week. And, you do see some guys adapt to it pretty quickly and some guys don't. So, you really got to identify each guy and how they recover on a daily basis. And that's just the conversation we have, paying attention to them weekly, and, kind of adjusting as we go. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't like to have one set program, and if it works for you or if it doesn't, but it's really flexible and seeing how each guy goes, because they're all different. So
yeah, I was going to ask you how regimented your throwing program is for those guys.
It's pretty individualized, just, depending on, the workload they have, previously to when they come back in the fall, whether it's a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, they all, thrown different amount of innings. So it's really having those conversations. How you feeling? What do you think you can handle? This is what I think you can handle this fall. Kind of, getting into that middle point and, formulating a plan that best fits that individual and how we're going to move forward.
What are your favorite drills?
I like to do, we have foam pads. I like to do a lot of dry work on the foam pad to enhance body control, through the movement process. That's one of my favorites. I like to get them into a balance point at the, when they lift their leg, and to really hold that position for a while, and then, release the pitch. I think those are the two really main ones I've been sticking with since I've started coaching. Two that's really helped me, and just to be able to repeat my delivery, to be able to, enhance my command in the zone. So those are my two favorite. We throw a lot of flat grounds at a low effort. We go off the mound a lot a week at a low effort. So we're staying healthy, but I think that's been a big part of why we can command the baseball so well.
Hey, when a guy's done throwing live, what are you doing recovery process-wise? Are you doing anything right when they're done? Are you waiting until the next day? How are you handling recovery for them after they're done live?
Yeah, typically they'll get into their post-throwing phase with their plyo, their plyo routines. And
which plyos do you like? I mean, which routines do you have them go through plyo-wise?
Yeah, we pick and choose from the drive line routine with the reverse throwing, the pivot, that whole nine.
I liked rebounders a lot.
Yeah, we do rebounders.
I loved rebounders.
Yeah. The two main ones that I mandate is, the upward tosses and the rebounders. And then some of the guys like to do some other stuff as well. But those are the two I typically stick with. And then they hit the weight room, and then typically the next day it's a a mobility day, a yoga day, where they're just recovering, resting, and then gearing up for the next start.
When will their next bullpen be after they throw live?
So take a Friday guy, for example. His bullpen will be Tuesday. For the most part, some guys like to go on a Wednesday, but for the most part it's a Tuesday. They like to throw a short box on a Monday, so they're going back-to-back mound days on a Monday and a Tuesday. And then, again, it's different for each individual. Some like to get off the mound more than others. But I would say generally it's, if a guy's throwing on a Friday, he's going to get back on the mound on a Tuesday to prepare for that Friday start.
If we were having a guy struggling with command, we would go to two bullpens. So we would actually go to a Monday, Wednesday bullpen set for them to get ready for a Friday. It was about the same amount of throws with those two pens, but felt like some of the guys that needed more touch and feel on their stuff. Not everybody can do that, but that's an old Leo Mazzoni thing. I mean, the Braves threw two bullpens in between a 5-day schedule, 7-day schedule. You got some wiggle room to be able to get creative. But that was the thing that was always fascinating to me with the Braves pitching staff, with Maddox and Glavine and those guys, and some of the best command guys we've ever had. But on a 5-day schedule, they were throwing two pens in between starts, which to me was fascinating. Incredible. When are you on-ramping, guys? I think this is the thing that's adjusted. So when are you starting to get ready for the season?
Yeah, I mean, December, I would say, is when, now because of such the short amount of downtime they have, it's easier to ramp them up quicker. And because of that quick turnaround, and, they're on their own in the winter in December. So, they kind of, it's 1 week of really moving the arm again. You're starting to get into that lawn toss phase, and then, short boxes on the mound, playing catch off the mound. So it does go pretty quick, but I would say December is really when it starts to ramp up. That's, the prime time preseason, phase. And by the time, they get back on campus, they've been off the mound, quite a bit, and they're ready to throw 30 pitches alive right away.
Yep. That last live action against your guys, how many pitches are you hoping to get out of them before you go play somebody else? So before you guys get ramped up next week, what's it look like this week for guys?
Yeah, our starters will get up to about 75 to 80 pitches this week.
Yep.
They've built up about 15, 20 pitches each weekend, so they'll get to roughly 5 innings, up to 75, 80 pitches to get them ready for our first start.
What are you hoping first start? I mean, realistically, it may not go as planned, but realistically, what are you trying to get out of them first shot against somebody else?
Yeah, first shot, from what they're built up for, I think, it's reasonable to say 5 to, maybe 7 innings. I mean, 7 innings if you're lucky.
Yep.
But, typically I would, you want a quality start out of those guys weekend one. So 5 to 6 innings, I think, if they can get through that smoothly, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
We tried to not overdo it. Obviously, not taxing anybody, but if we were hoping to get, 70 pitches out of them, we actually went to like 85, 90 pitches their last outing against our guys. So then that next outing, it's going to be stressful. That first time out against somebody else is taxing.
Oh, yeah.
So we tried to go over what we thought we were going to get out of them just to make that first start against somebody else a little bit easier. I know everybody does it different because first start's going to be taxing.
No, it is. And we have guys like, you got Mike Sansone, Jake Noviello, Bryson.
That's got to be confidence for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of confidence. And those guys, they can handle that type of workload, this time of the year. So we could extend, Mike to 85, 90 pitches. And, that gives us more confidence. And it's a luxury to have those guys back. Yeah. Gives us a lot of confidence going into weekend one, knowing who's going to be on the mound and what they've done in the past. So, yeah, we are excited for it.
Hey, how do you handle? I mean, you got a lot of confidence with those guys, but I'm sure there were times where maybe you get to that end of their start and you're trying to figure out if you're going to let them keep going or pull them. What are those conversations like with those guys?
Yeah, they're always fun conversations. They always, if they're not saying they want to go back out there, we got a problem.
Yes.
But they are, they're always like, Coach, I'm good for one more. I'm good for one more. So it is, every coach knows that's one of the most difficult conversations. So it's obviously dependent on the situation. But yeah, those are always fun conversations.
Are you relying on your catcher for that too?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's like, hey, Mike,
pull him off to the side.
What do you think, Mike? Here, you know what I mean? Take the weight off me here. What do you think?
For sure. Oh, we're hitting a lot. Are you using much tech? I know budget-wise doesn't always. Those of us that have been at mid-majors, we'd like to have everything, but you just budget-wise, you're not going to have everything. Is there some tech that you are using?
Yeah, we do. We have, the pitching Rapsodo, the hitting Rapsodo. We're very fortunate at Fairfield. We have so much support from our alumni. They're always at, what do you guys need? What do you guys need? What do you guys need? So we do have the Rapsodo. To be honest, we don't use it too much. There's certain guys that I think can handle that type of information. There's other guys that, I don't even want them to look at it. There's, more basic stuff that I, in my opinion, they need to, master first, command the ball first before we're going to be looking at this. Obviously, that's going to help you in a lot of ways, and we do get everyone on it. But I think the amount of usage we use it depends on the guy, to be honest. Yeah. And, the time that we have, what we're preparing for, I'm just not using it as often as I think others are right now. Yeah. But again, it's really, it goes back to the individual and what they've done in the past, where we're at with their development period and what they can handle. So
this time of year, how much is mechanical work and how much is competitive and go out and execute?
Yeah, I mean, this time 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks going into going into opening weekend, it's just about competing. We're still obviously working on stuff. We're taking video, reviewing some things, but a lot of it's just competing, making adjustments from start to start on approaches and going from there.
Do you have different styles coming out of your bullpen?
Sorry?
Do you have different styles? Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we were like the island of misfit toys at Western. Like, we had our starters, but then because of recruiting and what we had to get, we had some mix and match underneath guys from the left and the right. And I'm always intrigued to find out like what you're bringing in after your starters if you have to go to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, we've ranges in velocity, ranges of arm slot, lefty, righties, thought process. I mean, it's different. Every guy we're going to roll out there is completely different, and I think that's what we benefit from. I mean, we have a guy throwing 80-82 who has 6 pitches, and he's constantly keeping guys off balance, and we have all the confidence in the world, regardless of how hard he throws, to go out there and get the job done. We got another guy, 88-90 with a good breaking ball. Guys from the side. So yeah, we're identifying what situations they best thrive in, and we have a lot of them, and we're confident with the pitchers coming out of the bullpen, regardless of who it is, to come in any situation. But yeah, like you said, from a style standpoint, everyone's different, and that's the way we like it too.
How are you getting your new guys ready to pitch out of the pen? Because a lot of them haven't been able to do that and haven't had to do it because they're plenty good enough to be starters in high school or before they get to you. How are you handling getting guys ready to be bullpen guys?
Yeah, no, it's definitely an adjustment for them. I like to have more of our veteran bullpen guys have conversations with them on, you gotta really experiment, at this time of the year. How long does it take you to get ready when you gotta throw very quickly in the bullpen, and you're going to come out with a man on second base. So it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of trial and error. So we're putting those guys in those situations where, you're going to be coming in the 5th inning. So, kind of prepare for that. And then sometimes I like to not tell the guys and say, all right, he's going to be done after this inning. You got to get hot right now. So it definitely is a lot of trial and error. It's a big adjustment for them right away to, be ready by the time it's pitch 1 for them.
Yeah. So when they're down there during the game, I mean, do you give them any stipulation on when they know they're ready? I always felt with the new guys, like they were telling me they were ready and they're probably not ready. We tried to have them at least throw 1 batter down there just to make sure they were ready. And I'm always intrigued to see what pitching coaches relay, because that's a tough thing, like because the new guys probably think they're ready and they may not be ready to go in yet.
Yeah. I try. I mean, obviously, the whatever you have planned never goes as planned going into the game. So I try to give our guys as much information before the game as possible on, hey, this is plan A, this is plan B, this is plan C. So regardless of what comes out of it, you got to be ready. So I like to have them moving, constantly throughout the game, keeping their bodies warm. If they are active that day, they're going to be in the bullpen, moving their arm around through, almost every inning by, when the 3rd inning hits, kind of reading the game. And we're communicating as much as possible. I like to, make sure the guys know as far in advance as I can to let them know, all right, you're going to be coming in this situation, be ready for it. And for the most part, I think our guys do a pretty good job of being ready for that situation.
How is your guys' recruiting timeline? Are you going early with guys? Are you more junior, seniors? What's your guys' recruiting timeline?
Yeah, I think it's pretty normal. I mean, we're mainly always on the junior class. I mean, if some seniors pop and we got room for them, we're gonna identify those guys and try to move forward with them. And we're also identifying some sophomores as well, seeing who's generating that list, building that list on who we should follow in the spring. And if we can move on a sophomore, we would love to. I mean, obviously you want to beat some other schools to the punch with guys that you project to be, some top guys for you. So, for the most part, I would say it's the sophomore through the senior class.
What do you wish somebody would have told you before you got into coaching?
It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know how to answer that.
I love it.
I love just learning. I mean, every year
Did you get some good advice early from somebody? I mean, you've been around some really good coaches. So did you get, what was some of the best advice you got when you first got into it?
I mean, when I was in college, I always knew I wanted to coach. I talked to Coach McDonald, my pitching coach from UConn a lot. Hey, I want to get into college coaching. He told me I was crazy, but he said it's a grind. It's going to be some light meals at first, a lot of traveling, a lot of networking, but if you can stick with it, it's going to be rewarding in the end. And every year is a new experience. Every group is different, a new experience. I'm learning and getting better as a coach every single year. But Coach Mack from UConn gave me a lot of great advice when I was a player. I paid attention a lot, during my time in college on, what they're doing behind the scenes. And I think, for me, it was more just, I was more of a visual learner, just trying to really pay attention to how they operate in situations. And I think that's what, has prepared me to be, a coach today.
Hey, with your incoming guys, what would you like to see out of them a little bit more that maybe they're not getting with high school on the travel side? What would you like to get them a little bit more ready to step on a college campus?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just from an approach, having an approach on the mound. I think the level of training right now is at another level. These guys
it's all-time
really
high.
Locked in. Yeah, it's at an all-time high. What the resources they have now. I mean, these guys I think are so talented. But what I'm seeing is the conversations that I have to have over and over again with our freshmen are just, how to pitch, really. I mean, they come in just throwing, not having a plan, not, understanding what it is to command your fastball on both sides of the plate, how to command a breaking ball out of the zone, how to attack behind in the count, how to pitch with runners on base.
Yep.
Those are the pretty common conversations I'm always having with the freshmen coming in. So I would say, if I were, it would be just educating them on how to pitch rather than just throw and train.
Do you have a fail forward moment? Do you have something you thought was going to set you back, but looking back now was one of the best things that happened to you? Everybody has to answer this one.
Yeah.
The 160 podcasts I've done, everybody's had to answer this one.
Yeah,
except for the sports writers, they don't have to answer it.
That's a tough question. I don't know how to answer that one either. I mean, just some of the conversations and the information that I give, I think sometimes I might be giving too much information to a guy. So it's really trying to be careful on, again, what you're giving to each pitcher. And I think that's why I spend so much time getting to know the guys on, how to communicate with them and what they can handle versus what you should probably just swallow. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. How long did it take you to figure that piece out?
Pretty quickly. Yeah, pretty quickly. I mean, I was a pitching coach at Amherst College, right after I graduated. I was fortunate to coach summer ball that summer, and I learned pretty quickly on, how to, what the line is and how not to cross it with guys that are your age. And I think I adapted pretty quickly, but you definitely learn a lot that first year on, what's acceptable and how to communicate with the guys effectively so, they trust what you're saying.
Hey, where were you at summer ball coaching?
The Cape. Yeah.
Who are you with?
Bourne Braves.
Yep.
Harvey Shapiro.
Go Harvey.
3 summers. Yeah. It was an unbelievable 3 summers. I mean, the talent that comes in there is the best of the best. And, the way I looked at it was I'm trying to pick our guys' brains on, hey, what do you do at this school? What do you do at this school? And I'm keeping notes, and I learned so much over those 3 summers. It was an absolute blast.
Yeah, it's great. And, that's the tricky thing with summer ball. As long as you send them back healthy, like I always felt like I did it 5 summers. I felt like if I could send them back to school healthy and a little bit better, then I did my job as a summer ball coach.
Yeah, I mean, you want to stay out of their way. They're in the Cape Cod League for a reason. So, it's you got to be careful there. But I could say over the 3 summers, I had, the pitchers that I had, every single one of them was outstanding, great guys, and they're always open-minded, always eager to learn new things. They were always learning from each other. So, I was learning more from them than they learned from me. So it was a huge part of development as a coach for me at the Cape.
Me as well. Getting around guys from other programs, coaching wise, was great. And you get a lot more reps with dealing with a lot of different personalities. And
absolutely,
it's fine to just be a fall, spring coach at your college and then go recruit. That's fine too. But for the young coaches, I feel like at least a couple summers just allows them to be able to tinker a little bit here and there and find their own voice where maybe there's not as much pressure on you because it's not during the year where you have some freedom to make some mistakes in the summertime and be able to find your voice and deal with a lot of different kids too. It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And they're, those guys are coming in with so much success. So you try to be there for them when they do face some adversity. And I think that's kind of the role that I tried to take on most, was helping them when they were experiencing some failure, maybe for the first time. So I think that was a big piece of it.
Do you have any go-tos when guys lose the zone, when they lose their command a little bit? Do you have any go-tos for guys?
Yeah, typically, I usually say, pitch at, a less effort. I think, I typically say go to 90% for right now, get to 90%, get in control of how you're moving. And I think, commonly that's been the biggest helpful, useful adjustment that those guys make. Because when things aren't going their way, they typically start trying harder. So I think, at that time, less is more for them, get dialed back to 90%, get yourself back in rhythm. And, that's typically my go-to, I would say.
Yeah, the things we bared down on film-wise was if their handbrake timing was good, if when their knee was dropping, their hands were breaking, and then when their front foot planted, if the ball was in a good position to throw from. We felt like if they could do those two things, they probably were going to be around the zone. I felt like that's when guys lost the zone. Their handbrake timing got off, and the ball wasn't in a good position to throw from when their foot landed.
Yeah, I mean, typically they're always like, Coach, what's wrong with my mechanic? And it's always, it's typically never your mechanics. I mean, your mechanics are the exact same. It's typically always timing.
Yes.
So, you want to – I like when our guys, have struggle in bullpens. I do. I think it's the best preparation to make those in-game adjustments on their own. So you like to put them in challenging situations, during their bullpen sessions. And I think that's the biggest, help for them to, experience how to make those adjustments on your own. I like to stand back there, not say as much, be very hands off so they can be their own coach in a way where, I'm not going to be in their ear when they're out there in the game and they're struggling. It's good for them to, know what, why their timing is off, how to fix it and make that in-game adjustment, from pitch to pitch.
Are you using stand-ins or strings at all in the bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, we're using a stand-in, whether it's our batter dummy or our actual hitters. They like to stand in as well and track the ball. But I mean, I don't think you're getting any better with nothing in the box. So we're always putting something in the box with a batter with the string at times. Yep. And I think that's the biggest thing. I know that was
with the string. Are you using just bottom of the zone, or are you using a string for the top of the zone? We did a variety of stuff. Sometimes we'd go just bottom of the zone. Sometimes we'd go top. Sometimes we'd add the strike zone in with the strings. We varied it with whatever we were doing that day.
Yeah, same thing. We vary it. Typically, we'll either have it at the top or bottom, depending on the guy. If it's a guy that we're working up and down with approach-wise, we're going to typically stay at the top of the zone because that's a little more, of a challenging adjustment for them to make. So, yeah, that's what we're doing with the string.
We would use the top of the catcher's helmet if we were trying to go above, just to give them a visual to throw through. Because again, most guys, it was accidental throwing up out of the zone when they're new. Yeah. But trying to teach them just some visuals and also pitch outs. I think pitch outs, I know guys don't do it as much anymore. We actually went to more of a modified wave pitch out where the catcher was actually down but set up way off the plate. That's so cool. It was a little bit easier feed for the pitchers. It's just really, the pitch out's really hard.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot harder than you think, especially when there's a guy on third base. It can get really challenging. But yeah, we should practice that more often. To be honest, we don't practice.
Yeah, but you don't have enough time. I mean, it's for Division I. Like you don't have enough time to get everything in that you need to get into.
It's tough. It's tough. But
any
top of the zone,
go ahead.
Like that dummy that we have. Like I put a piece of tape, kind of where their hands are, and it's a good visual for them to kind of stay below that or at the top of that. So that helps as well.
Yeah, good enough to swing at, but not good enough to hit.
Sure.
Hey, any evening or morning routines that you have that you like? I always like to talk to guys about maybe something they're doing on a daily basis that they feel like help them.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I like to meditate every now and then, and I try to be as consistent as I can. Obviously, it's tough at times depending on the year, but in the morning, just to really gather myself for 10 minutes, prepare for the day. I think that's the biggest thing that helps me just be ready for the day and how I'm going to go about, communicating with our guys and, our practice plan going into the weekend. So I think, just a quick 10 minutes of, kind of visualizing the day, meditating is what I've been doing.
Are you tweaking breaking balls much for guys? Are you switching to curveballs or to sliders depending on things? Are you tweaking much with guys?
Breaking balls, not as much. I think change-ups, is the thing that I'm more comfortable doing. I was a change-up guy.
What grip did you use for your change-up?
I used the split change-up grip.
Yeah.
So, I was never a circle change-up guy, but I am familiar with
split or more fosh.
It was like a 3-finger, kind of like I don't know what a Vulcan grip.
Yes,
I guess what they
Vulcan.
call it.
Yep.
So I feel like I'm pretty comfortable making adjustments with the changeup. So that's one pitch I'm pretty much, tinkering with each guy with, how they're holding the ball, pressure point wise, how wide their fingers are on the ball. As far as breaking balls go, we use softballs. We spin the softball a lot. I think when you put the baseball back in the hand, your feel
get out over the top of it much better. Jerry Weinstein has that in his throwing program. It's good because when they get back to a real ball, they get over the top of the ball better with their fingers.
Yeah, that's been a huge help for our guys spinning the softball, I would say.
We tried to work off their primary fastball, and we had some guys 4 seams, some guys 2 seams, but their primary fastball, we tried to work their stuff off that, especially with the middle finger. We tried to keep their middle finger the same and then work off of it. Just for feel purposes. Again, it doesn't always work, but that was some of the trial and error. If we were having a guy with getting a hard feel on a pitch, we just tried to keep their middle finger the same as their primary fastball and then switch their grip a little bit on whether it was a slider, curveball, or changeup.
Yeah, no, that's a good approach. I like to, in our bullpen sessions, if they're struggling with the breaking ball or the changeup, I think a big thing that helps is alternating. You go fastball, curveball, because a lot of them are, slowing their arm speed down or not getting their full extension out with their breaking ball. So if you can alternate and then blend that timing, the speed of the arm and the release point, that's typically an adjustment they're able to make and feel pretty rapidly.
I love to change up long toss and then same thing, alternate with a change up grip and then a fastball grip on their long toss with it. I know everybody has their different views, but same thing. I felt like it got them through their release point better, focusing on their fastball and then adding their secondary pitch in with it too. I just felt like the blending piece was a lot better because they could feel their arm action better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think throwing when you're working on a changeup or you're getting the feel for a changeup, throwing it at an extended distance is big, and it helps them work through. Feel what it's like to pitch at 97% with it. And when they get on the mound, you're at a shorter distance, but it's easier to kind of work through the catcher with it. We do a lot of short box work with the fastball and the breaking ball. Typically guys struggle with the changeup. So we extend the catcher behind the plate a lot to work on the changeup, which the guys really like.
We would have them use the back corner of home plate too to try to take their middle finger through the back corner of the plate to allow them to get a visual of, okay, let's throw this pitch down the middle right now low and just see what it does. And it gave guys some confidence that, hey, I can aim this pitch. I can rifle this thing right through the back corner of the plate and let it work, and it ends up being a pretty good pitch. I think sometimes with changeups, guys try to be too fine with it, and it's going to fade, and so it ends up way off the plate, not where they want.
Yeah, I think similar to what you're saying, what I like to do is move the catcher typically glove side because they're not getting that full extension. So, the first thing I go to really if they're struggling to get it over the plate is, I'll yell to the catcher, hey, just move glove side a little bit, extend off the plate. They feel what it's like to really extend with the changeup, really work through the catcher with it, and it's a good feel for them to make that adjustment with.
Yeah, I loved starting the catcher on the glove side just to force them in the beginning of the pen just to get through their throws a little bit too. How much short box stuff are you having them do with the catcher up close?
Our guys will do short boxes probably twice a week. In addition to their bullpen, they love it. I mean, it's easy. You move the catcher up in front of the plate. You can throw it a low effort where you can stay healthy, but you're getting reps off the slope, which I think is important. The more you can do that, the more consistent you can be. and ready for when you're actually throwing live.
Thought it cleaned the breaking ball up too, to have the catcher start close on their breaking ball, just so they could hammer the breaking ball in there for a little bit and then move the catcher back as they got comfortable with it too.
Yeah, I think it's a big help, big resource, big help for them. Definitely spin the ball. It's huge.
Hey, with long toss, you letting them go out as far as they want? I know everybody's different on their views of long toss, but are you letting them go as far as they want?
Yeah, I mean, each guy, can handle a certain distance. So I like to, in the fall, really get them on a football field where they can have a good visual of yardage and how deep they can go throwing at it, at a controlled effort where they can command the baseball. Yep. So they get a good idea on kind of where their starting point is and how deep they can actually, go moving forward. So I love long toss. The guys are different with when they do it throughout the week. Some guys like to do it the day they're going off the mound. Some guys like to do it, a different day. Yep. But I'm never really putting a restriction on it unless it's not helping them in a way or causing their arm to be more tired in certain situations.
Same thing with pull downs and compressing. Or it's up to them how they're feeling that day if they want to really get after it on the way back in.
Definitely. It's really up to them how they feel. Sometimes you got to push guys. Hey, let's get it in today. I know you're not feeling so hot, but this might help the body a little bit. So, but yeah, it's really, I like to leave it up to the individual on how they feel that week. And obviously it depends on when they are throwing off the mound. So it really varies.
How are you handling the warm up for them? I mean, are you getting a pretty good sweat going before they pick the ball up?
I like for them to get a sweat going. We do a lot of, catch with tired legs. So I like to condition them, twice a week during, before we begin catch. Yep. So they can, really figure out what it's like to, when you are in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning to pitch without, your best strength. And I think that goes a long way. Sometimes in bullpens, I like to break it into two innings, I would say. And then in that, that half where you're sitting down, they're jump roping, they're doing squat jumps, getting their legs tired, getting back on the mound and really figuring out how to pitch where you're at 85, 90%. So,
and the heart rate too. I mean, get the heart rate up and see if you can get it under control. Hey, with the conditioning piece, I mean, again, there's so many different theories on this. Are you having them run long distance? Or are we just doing sprint work? Are we just doing heart rate stuff? What are you doing with different guys?
Yeah, I like to do a lot of shuttle work. Like we have a turf field, so we'll walk over there. We'll do a lot of shuttle work, and you can do it into sprint work. You can blend that into long distance. I like them going back and forth, and I would say it's a mix. Again, it's a mix. It depends on the day. Some days they're going, for a longer run, and most days I would say it's more of a we're doing a lot more shuttle running to get that endurance up. Cool.
What are some final thoughts before I let you go? I know you're busy, season's get ready to start. So what are some final thoughts?
No, I just really appreciate you having me. This is, I've been watching this growing up and as a player now coach, it's really cool. And, it's an honor to be on here. And I'm just excited for the season. I mean, it's been, we were talking about it with our players the other day, half of our roster hasn't experienced a full college baseball season yet here. I mean, we had the COVID shutdown 2 years ago. Last year we were conference only. So, our freshmen, junior, and some seniors haven't played, a full college season in a while. So we're all anxious to get going here, go down south, get that going, and then come back, play some midweek games before we get into conference play. So it's really exciting. Glad college baseball is starting to, experience some normalcy again. And I'm really excited.
Hey, you're going to go to 5 games a week now, and then we had to do, so how are you going to handle your midweek stuff with your pitchers? Are you going to try to get another starter? Or are you going to mix it up? I thought that was always it varies a lot for people that don't know about college baseball at that level. Like that's a lot of games. So how you handle a midweek game is going to be completely different depending on what's going on.
Yeah, Coach Courier, Coach Fay, and myself, we've had a lot of conversation on kind of what our approach is. We don't really have an answer right now. We've been building guys up to start, so I think, what we would hope for is to have a set starter on a Tuesday and maybe staff day a Wednesday. Yep. That would be the most ideal situation for, what we kind of have on our depth chart right now. Yep. So, like we said before, it really never goes as planned. So
that's the art also. That the art, there's a lot of art to managing your pitching staff. It's
exactly.
intriguing.
So it's always a week by week basis, but ideally we would like to have, you know, a Tuesday guy and a Wednesday guy. But I think the way, you know, our pitching staff, you know, on paper looks like right now, it would be good to have a, you know, a starter plus a staff day on a Wednesday.
A swing guy too.
Yeah.
Long relief guy on a weekend and get him a start midweek.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. So,
awesome.
We're looking forward to it.
Jordan, I appreciate it, man. This is great. Have a great season. Looks like the league's going to be really good again. So I'm excited to watch you guys.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Ryan. I really appreciate it.